Take two. Well, it doesn't look like my computer likes to keep the video playing uh, while it's not directly connected into a power source. So it uh, is telling me I'm live now. So I've moved back into my chilly office out of the warm, unused living room to talk a little bit for Sunday school about the miracle of the Gnostic Mass. Now, this was from Constance and I did our Mass seminar, or an abbreviated version. We've got like a 5-hour Mass seminar that we do together, and we've done all around the world over the years. And as a matter of fact, I've posted a recording of our full Mass seminar right on my Facebook page here. It's a series of YouTube videos, an audio video put on by the good folks at Speech in the Silence. And you can hear the whole thing by connecting to the link that I put up. But anyway, today I just want to give you a little taste of it. The Gnostic Mass, I don't know if everybody's familiar with what it is, but it is a Eucharistic public Mass, a public church service that Crowley created along about 1918, and he was inspired by a beautiful Orthodox Mass, Russian Orthodox Mass that he saw in Moscow at St. Basil's or Basil's, and he saw the perfection of a magical ceremony that is the Mass. There's everybody is quick to say that Crowley was so anti-Christian that he would be totally opposed to things like an Orthodox Mass or a Roman Catholic Mass. But he wasn't. He wasn't, okay? It was sound, beautiful magic, and elegant and exquisite ritual of worship. If there was any objection that he would have to it at all, was not so much in the ritual itself, but the basic formula of what the ritual was celebrating. And he said, all I have to do is tweak a couple of important things, and I can design a wonderful Mass. And he did, and it is the most public and privately celebrated rituals of Thelema, and possibly of the entire modern magical movement. And Constance and I have been privileged over the years to celebrate Mass many times and all over the world. And anyway, my little introduction here should be kind of self-explanatory. So this is one we delivered for a group of pagans in 2014. And here we go. And remember, Constance and I wrote this together. So anything that you might object to I'm sure, is Constance's. I'm teasing. Anyway, I'm going to skip the Well, even though today's talk was written by members of the Sovereign Sanctuary of the Gnosis of Ordo Templi Orientis, now the Sovereign Sanctuary of the Gnosis in OTO is the ninth degree, okay? Or at least the summit of the sanctuary is the ninth degree. And that is the core of the OTO's magic. So, now even though today's talk was written by members of the Sovereign Sanctuary of the Gnosis of Ordo Templi Orientis, or Constance and I, we do not suggest or imply that there is or could ever be a complete consensus among members of that body on every detail of the Mass. Please note that we are only here to share our observations and opinions. Neither are these words intended in any way to ridicule or belittle any local customs or traditions you may hold dear. The goal is simply to increase your understanding and appreciation of the forces and formulae that make the Mass the Mass. Now you can find this Mass. It's Libra 15, and you can find it in Theory and Practice, or Google it on the internet. You can find the whole Mass. It's not the same as celebrating it, and watching it, and being a communicant. A brief outline of today's seminar would go something like this. First, why the Mass is an Aeon of Horus, New Age religious ceremony. Second, why communion is the most important part of the Mass. And third, a brief explanation of the Mass as a revelation of a profound secret of sexual magic. And fourth, because of the nature of the secret, why Mass is the perfect opportunity to achieve conversation and communion with your holy guardian angel, or anything that is your heart's desire. Before we get rolling, we'd like to say a few important words about the Gnostic Mass as simply a worship service. To paraphrase DuQuette from The Magic of Aleister Crowley, quote, "The law is for all, and as fascinating as the study of Thelemic magic may be for many of us, the fact remains that the vast majority of the population will never be attracted to the theories and techniques we're going to discuss in this seminar. Nor should their disinterest in the technical aspects of magic exclude them from embracing the law of Thelema or applying the formulae of the new Aeon to their lives. Like the Roman or Orthodox Mass of the Aeon of Osiris, Libra 15, that's the Gnostic Mass, Libra 15 serves to bring the community together to affirm a common creed and provide an opportunity for all to participate directly in the magical formulae of the age. However, in order for all to participate directly in the magical formulae of Mass, the Mass must be conducted and celebrated in such a manner as to actually communicate those formulae. And it takes only a slight change of focus on part of the ritual team or congregation to degenerate the Mass from a ceremony of the religion of the future to a ritual that exalts the spiritual formulae of the past. Now I'm going to describe the layout of the temple here in this section. In the east, that is the direction of Boleskine, or Boleskine, or Boleskine, that's Crowley's old house in Loch Ness that's being restored right now, as a matter of fact. That is sort of our Qibla. That's the Thelemic East for various reasons. In the east, that is the direction of Boleskine, there is a shrine or high altar. This shrine supports the stele of revealing, the book of the law, and the sacred elements of the Eucharist. That would be wine and bread, or hosts. The high altar is the focal point of the worship service known to us as the Gnostic Mass. This is where the magic takes place in the aeon of the crowned and conquering child. Everything that is said and done in the other areas of the temple are merely preparatory acts to the magic that will take place on the high altar. This high altar is elevated above the rest of the temple. It is set up on the top level of a dais of 3 steps. This is the high place of the temple, and an appropriate setting for the supreme magical climax of the ceremony. Once the priestess has taken her place upon the high altar, and the veil is drawn before the shrine, the priest ascends to the high altar by the 3 steps of the dais. As he does so, he halts at each step, and he, the priestess, and the deacon poetically reveal a fundamental secret of this worship service. I misspoke, a fundamental mystery of this worship service. That is, the formula of worship in the Aeon of Horus has evolved step by step from the formulae of the 2 previous aeons. The first step represents the Aeon of Isis, the age of the goddess, and it is on the first step that the goddess is worshipped in the Gnostic Mass. Here the priestess is identified as the goddess Nuit. It is on the first step that the priest sings, O Nuit, continuous one of heaven, let it be ever thus that men speak not of thee as one, but as none, and let them speak not of thee at all, since thou art continuous. And it is while standing on the first step that he hears the priestess deliver her beautiful, but to love me is better than all things speech. We cover all this in detail, painful detail later on. As worshipers, we could stay on that first step, worshiping the goddess and adhering to her formula forever. Indeed, many people do just that. But we, the children of the Aeon of Horus, adore the goddess not as an end, but as a means. We linger on the first step only long enough to activate the formula of the goddess within ourselves to prepare for a wedding. Only long enough to allow ourselves to be aroused by the essence of her divinity before stepping up to the next level of worship. The second step represents the Aeon of Osiris and the age of the dying god. It is on the second step that the priest is identified as the god Hadit, the inscrutable lover at the very center of the infinite body of Nuit. He says, I am the flame that burns in every heart of man and in the core of every star. I am life and the giver of life, yet therefore is the knowledge of me the knowledge of death. Now that last part is reminiscent of Osiris, Krishna, Christ, and every other dying god. As worshippers, we could stay on the second step, worshiping the dying god and adhering to his formula forever. Indeed, many people do just that. But we, the children of the Aeon of Horus, adore the dying god not as an end, but as a means. We linger on the second step only long enough to activate the formula of the dying god within ourselves. Only long enough to snatch the vibrating pulse of life and death from the patriarchal lord in order to prepare for a wedding. A wedding we will celebrate on the third and final step. It is upon the third step that we achieve synthesis. It is upon the third step that the mystic marriage will be consummated. It is upon the third step the true object of worship will appear. Rahur Kuit, the crowned and conquering child. The child of the goddess and the god of the last two aeons. We give thanks and respect to the goddess and the priestess who embodies her. But at the end of the Mass, it is not the goddess whom we worship. It's not the goddess whom we adore. It's not the goddess with whom we commune. We give thanks and respect to the god and to the priest who embodies him. But at the end of the Mass, it is not the God whom we worship. It is not the God whom we adore, and it's not the God with whom we commune. As we'll soon see, the Mass of the Gnostic Catholic Church is an enactment of a great and wonderful magical secret. The goal of this secret is the creation of a child. Whether that child is the material or emotional object of your heart's desire, or knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel. It's true, without the goddess and the god, the child could not be born. But those who would treat the Gnostic Mass as a ceremony of goddess worship are missing the point entirely. With all the other worshippers of the Aeon of Isis, they cannot rise above the first step of worship. And those who would relegate the Gnostic Mass to a ceremony of phallus worship are also missing the point entirely. Like worshippers of the Aeon of Osiris, they cannot rise above the second step of worship. At the end of the ceremony, each one of us should be standing spiritually on the third step of worship. Our attention focused with full attention and concentration not upon the priestess, not upon the priest, but on the child, as embodied in the host and wine. Only those who have achieved, then transcended the arousal of the goddess, only those who have achieved, then transcended the concentrated potency of the god, only those who have annihilated both god and goddess in ecstasy can stand on the third spiritual step and consume and then become the child of their union. Only those who have taken the third spiritual step are worthy to be called worshippers of the Aeon of Horus. And that's where we'll end up Sunday school today. Very appropriate we get all churchy about things. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Obviously, it's kind of chilly. Here it's dipping down into the 30s, I think, tonight. And I hope Constance's plants survive. Anyway, I want you to continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. And if you want to hear the entire Gnostic Mass seminar that Constance and I delivered all around the world for a number of years, you can follow the links to the speech and the silence recordings of them that I've posted right here on Facebook. So, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.